All right, guys, welcome on in, and thank you for tuning into the GSMC Golf Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you guys today, where we will be recapping the Wells Fargo Championship, giving a leaderboard breakdown, how things shaped out, and what it meant for the FedEx Cup standings moving forward. I'll also give you some of my superlatives over the weekend. Next, I will be discussing the final round 65 shot from Rory McIlroy, as he was absolutely on fire when it came to Sunday. He was able to come back from, I think he was like 4 shots down on Xander Schauffele going into Sunday. Then we'll be talking about Jimmy Dunn, the architect of the PGA Tour Live Golf framework agreement, as they were trying to merge last year. He has resigned from the PGA Tour board, and what that could mean for both golf tours and merger going forward. We will then make sure you guys stick around for later in the show, when I will be giving you my take on who is the best golfer leading into the major championship, who's playing the best golf going into a major that very stacked field. I believe it has over 120 players in this field. Then we will be ending our show by breaking down the top 10 golfers who I believe need, or who gains the most from winning this weekend at the PGA Championship. But before we start, guys, I would like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read live on air, I would ask that you use the tips and donations link that you see at gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it. And it also really helps the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. And without further ado, guys, we're going to get right into our first segment, which we're talking about the Wells Fargo Championship that happened over the weekend. Rory McIlroy, as you see on the screen right now, for the visual listeners here, Rory McIlroy won the Wells Fargo Championship. This is his second win in the last 2 years. This is his 4th win at the Wells Fargo. This is a tournament and a golf course that he loves. It really plays to his strength. His driver is his strength, and the long course really plays into that. But for this tournament here, it was Xander Schauffele that led for the vast majority of this tournament. He led for 60-plus holes during the Wells Fargo. And it was really Rory McIlroy's surge on Sunday that propelled him over Xander Schauffele. We'll talk more about his surge, and we'll do a little bit of a deep dive into Rory McIlroy in that second segment here. Both of them, though, a name to watch out for this upcoming weekend as we get into the PGA Championship. It's major season now. This is the one that really matters. Of course, the Wells Fargo, signature event in golf, so you do want to win it a lot. The signature events being a heavier purse, $20 million was up for grabs, where McIlroy was able to get the majority of that, but it was also 700 FedEx points up for grabs. And with that, Rory McIlroy was 16th in the FedEx Cup standings before this tournament, safely in the top 30 for the Tour Championship, but him becoming 4th from the 700 points that he gained in this tournament really solidifies him into one of those Tour Championship spots. He will be one of the top 30 players going into that tournament. Xander Schauffele, he played very, very well throughout this weekend. He was second in all categories behind Rory McIlroy when it came to the stats after the tournament, but before that final day, he was leading in everything. He led after the 18th hole, after the 36th hole, and after the 54th hole. He played near perfect golf the entire weekend. Just had a little bit of a lackadaisical Saturday or Sunday, and I don't think he was really competing with Rory McIlroy. I'm going to show you Rory McIlroy's scorecard for the whole tournament, but especially for round 4 in that second segment. You'll really see how he was able to win this one. He even double bogeyed 18th, Rory McIlroy did, on Sunday, and he still ended up with a 65. Nobody was really competing with this guy. He was out to win this one. And like I said, it's his second tournament win in the last 2 events that he's played for. Playing some really good golf. But Xander Schauffele, man, I can't talk enough good about this guy, how well he played in this tournament. He was very, very impressive, and you just got to give it to him. You got to tip the hat to Xander Schauffele, who, I mean, he got second, still a lot of money, still a good amount of FedEx points, but of course he wanted to win this one, but I still think that he's playing very good golf when it comes down to the tournament that's coming up next weekend. He's definitely a name to look out for. And then Jason Day kind of had a little bit of an underrated week. He coming off of a CJ Cup at the Byron Nelson that he would love to forget. Not able to make the cut on that one in a weak field. It really looked like he was using that tournament to kind of build up some momentum, and he wasn't able to do so. So I didn't think that he really had a chance in this one. I didn't think that we were going to see him in the leaderboard. It looked like there was something off in his swing and in his game. But Jason Day able to kind of overcome that result, and I think he tied for fourth when it comes into it. And I actually had the leaderboard pulled up on this monitor here, and yes, he was 6 under, tied with Sungjae Im, who also had a really good weekend. Both of them finished 6 under. But the score breakdowns in this tournament was Rory McIlroy 17 under off of all rounds were really good. He was bogey free Friday and Saturday. Xander Schauffele, a 64 opening round, a 67 round 2, and then a 71 and a 71, or a 70 and a 71 in round 3 and 4. Unable to get it done really over the weekend as he propelled himself ahead of the competition, ahead of the field, but he was unable to really continue that when it got into the weekend. And Byung Hun An, he's playing really good golf. He's been one of the contenders every single week, and he is now 6th in the FedEx Cup standing. So that's a very underrated golfer, and not a lot of people are talking about. But he has been playing very well and shot a 66 in round 4 to really propel himself into that 3rd place. It's kind of a weak scoreboard here. It goes 17 under for Rory, 12 under for Xander Schauffele, 9 under for Byung Hun An, and then Jason Day and Sungjae Im both tie at 6 under. Your top 6 is 5 under. That's Mackenzie Hughes and Denny McCarthy. You have Max Homa and Sepp Straka, who have both 4 under, and that's top 8. And then your top 10 is Russell Henley, Grayson Murray, and Taylor Pendrith, who all finished at 3 under. It was a very difficult course this weekend. A lot of guys struggling, a lot of people playing out of the rough. I saw a lot of shots out of bunkers in this one also. It was just a very difficult course. We talked about it a lot on Thursday, how long this course is, how difficult it could be to play at Quail Hollow. Of course, it's a course that's used as a major championship and a signature event many years. So it's the longest par adjusted course on tour. So guys that are able to hit their driver far, like Rory McIlroy, are always going to have an advantage in this one. This is kind of why I'm a little bit shocked to see Xander Schauffele in first, or he was in first for the longest time here, because he's not really known for his driving. He's more of a iron guy, and he's one of the best iron guys on tour. The approach to green shots were clinical for the first 2 days, but really it was his driving that put him in contention. He made a lot of fairways. He was a top 5 driver, I believe, in this tournament. I think he finished like 2nd. So he played amazing. Xander Schauffele did. He just couldn't get this one. Rory McIlroy played amazing down the stretch. As I said, 17 under through the weekend when your 10th place was 3 under. Nobody was competing with Rory McIlroy in this tournament. He really put himself ahead. And really quick, my superlatives for this weekend. You had the best driver. It's Rory McIlroy. It's the guy you see on the screen. 3.911 strokes gained tee to green. 1.529 strokes gained off the tee. His distance was number 1. His accuracy was not as good, but man, he played out of the rough very well, so he didn't really need that accuracy to be amazing. He drove the ball very far this weekend, and that's what he needed to do. The guy with the best irons in this tournament, Xander Schauffele, 1.869 per hole strokes gained on the field. Unbelievable clinical play from him. Gained 7.475 strokes per day on average with his irons on the field. 70.83% of greens in regulation. He hit 51 greens in 72 holes. The tour average is a 55.98. he played 15% above the tour average when it came to greens in regulation, and that's really what got him into contention with Rory McIlroy, who looked above and away the best golfer in the world in this tournament. Best wedges for me, it was Denny McCarthy. Denny McCarthy finished tied for 6th with Mackenzie Hughes at 5 under, but he was scrambling like no other. He shot a par or better on 25 out of the 33 holes that he missed the green in regulation. That is very impressive. Very impressive. That's a 75.76% conversion rate when it comes to scrambling. The tour average is a 57.68. He was playing very well around the greens. Poor iron play. He missed, that many greens. He missed 33 greens in regulation, but he was very good at getting up and down this tournament and getting that ball in. And then Rory McIlroy came second in this stat at 73.91. That's very impressive for Rory McIlroy. Not really known for his wedges, not really known for his up and down game, but it's still very strong. And he reminded all of us of that this weekend. My best player for this weekend, it was, of course, Rory McIlroy, the winner. He gained 5 shots in all aspects to the field. His putting was unbelievable. This is the best I've ever seen Rory McIlroy putt. He gained 4.282 strokes on the field putting. Xander Schauffele was like 0.9 something of strokes gained while putting. So, that's the difference between those two guys. And he was just absolutely clinical on the final day, like we talked about it. Most surprising in a bad way, I would say Tony Finau and Sahith Theegala. Both of them had high expectations when it came into this tournament. Both of them shooting an 8 over at the Wells Fargo Championship. You're going to really hope to see a rebound, of the fan favorite Sahith Theegala, and I would say fan favorite Tony Finau. Both of those guys play kind of like Victor Hovland, like very happy, very just glad to be playing golf for a living. And that's what a lot of people like. And it was unfortunate to see them both shoot 8 over, but I expect a bounce back week at the PGA Championship for both of them. And then most impressive for me, it was Sungjae Im. Tied for 4th, shot a 6 under. Was very great, very clinical. Sungjae Im had a very impressive weekend. If you take Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele out of it, he's second, and he was very impressive, coming kind of from nowhere. Nobody really had him on their list to play too well at the Wells Fargo Championship. And with that being said, we're going to take our first break right here. When I come back, we're going to be talking about Rory McIlroy and talk about his final round 65 and what it really means going into the PGA Championship this weekend.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alright guys, we're getting right into our second segment here. Rory McIlroy shooting a final round 65 to win the Wells Fargo Championship. As I mentioned, of course, this picture of him winning the trophy. This is his 4th Wells Fargo Championship, but it's also this is his scorecard. And but before we talk more on Rory McIlroy, I'd like to remind you guys, if you have a question or comment you would like to see me read out loud live on air, use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. Once again, it really helps all of us here at GSMC, the Sports Network and the Podcast Network. really means a lot to us whenever you guys help out in any way you can. But with that being said, we're going to talk about Rory McIlroy. Absolutely unbelievable. Talk about this scorecard a little bit. Round 1, he got off to a great start, very fast start. He shot 31 on the front 9. He was unbelievable this entire tournament. But it's really, he was very inconsistent in round 1. He has birdie, eagle, bogey in that first, in the front 9. There it is. And then, a little inconsistent when it came to the back 9. Birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey. Ends up even the back 9, but 4 under on the day. Still really good. And then it's really round 2 that you really get impressed with this scorecard. Fighting in the front 9 here. Par the entire way until you get to the 8. And really, at this tournament, this is what you want to do. You want to be fighting, and then you want to put yourself in a chance to birdie some of these par 4s, but really it's the par 5s that you're looking at. Unable to capitalize on 7th, but 8, 9, 10 is the easiest stretch when it comes to a 3-hole stretch in this entire tournament. And he was really great when it came to 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, and 4, these rounds, he was unbelievable. That approach shot on 10 in the 4th round was amazing. 2 eagles on par 5s is very impressive on the back 9. But once again, we're going to go back to talking about the round 2 here. For this tournament, 16, 17, 18, it's called the Green Mile. It is the longest stretch of 3 holes that you're really going to face at such a low par. You have a 4, 3, 4 are the pars of those holes, but those par 4s can play like a par 5 sometimes, and that par 3 is like 220 yards, and that's so difficult. A 220-yard par 3, I can't even imagine facing that one. I don't even know what I would shoot. But yeah, you have 16, 17, 18, and I would like to divert your attention. He, on round 2 and round 3, he was able to just par those, and that was perfect. Everybody else was playing that above par. I don't think there was a single scorecard besides maybe Xander Schauffele that had 16, 17, 18 played so well through 2 rounds here. And then round 3, he was able to just be consistent again. It's birdie. It's 4 under, just consistent, just nice play, easy play, not bogeying. Golfers love to see a bogey-free card. Once you see that, you have potential to really climb up in the rankings, and he just keeps on impressing here. Rory McIlroy, and then in round 4, puts himself in a position to be able to contend with Xander Schauffele through those round 1s through 3, and then on Sunday, man, he just absolutely made a surge. Opened the day up with a birdie on 1. Xander Schauffele then takes the lead back when it comes to 4, and then it looks like Xander Schauffele had like a 2 or maybe even a 3-stroke lead when it got into, I believe he birdied 3 of the opening 9 holes, but Rory McIlroy able to fight back. 8, 9, and 10. I talked about it being the easiest stretch of 3 holes on this entire course, and they still were very difficult, but he goes birdie, eagle. Plays it 4 under through those 3 holes, and that really propelled him for the rest of the way here. Goes birdie, eagle on 13, 14, and 15 before he gets to the Green Mile here, and that put the tournament away, and he really won it right at 15 right there when he got that eagle putt to drop. 16, 17, par, and then a double bogey on 18 really kind of ruins the scorecard. What we could have seen, a 63 here on the final day, 19 under, winning the tournament by 7 strokes. That would have done some injustice to Xander Schauffele, who had an unbelievable weekend. But yeah, Rory McIlroy, what more can we say about it? Very impressive scorecard here. He played some amazing golf down the stretch here. Just dominated Sunday, like you see here. A lot of low scores there, and that's what you really want to see, and that led to this picture. That led to him being able to win on Mother's Day, pulling out the pink for the Mother's Day. And Rory McIlroy, unbelievable golfer, and he's going to come into the PGA Championship with lofty expectations. He's probably one of the 3 guys who are really favored to win. I would say the 3 guys who really separate themselves above the field right now, and we'll talk about it in the next segment, but I'll just give you a little sneak peek here. It's Rory McIlroy, it's Brooks Koepka, and it's Scottie Scheffler. These 3 guys are playing unbelievable golf. Scotty Scheffler just winning every single time he comes on tour. Rory McIlroy winning his last two tournaments that he's played in, and Brooks Koepka winning in the Live Golf tournament. He just finished first in Singapore for them, and he's playing amazing golf, and he's always great when it comes to the majors. So it's going to be fun to see how these three guys play at the PGA Championship. But, without that double bogey, that's a 63 on the final round. That would have been the best scorecard anybody's turned in over the 18 holes. He absolutely clinical. And, if Scotty Scheffler doesn't exist, he is by far and away the favorite for the PGA Championship, in my opinion here. But Scotty Scheffler does exist. So what's it going to look like? I'm very excited to kind of dive very deep into the PGA Championship. Valhalla is the golf course that they're playing at this weekend. Talk a little bit of who that favors their strength. We'll talk about that on our Thursday podcast. But, his driving's been amazing. And that's, you have to drive the ball amazing to win at Quails Hollow, and he was able to do that. All aspects was working, though. He gained 7 strokes on the field from irons too. He gained 4 strokes on the field from putting. He gained 5 strokes or 3, 4, 5 strokes on the field with driving, and that's something we haven't seen a lot from Rory McIlroy this year. Before the Zurich Classic especially, and the Zurich Classic is a scramble event. It's a partner event, so it's not really his play. It's he played with Shane Lowry, I believe. So it's both of those guys, or Sean Lowry, I don't know, the Irish guy. It's both of their guys' plays in the Zurich Classic. But this was this was Rory McIlroy by himself, just dominating here. This is his golf course, though. 4-time winner at Wells Fargo. He's working on getting to 40 wins on the tour, going for his 5th major this weekend. He is very impressive right now, but, it's been a decade since his last major, so that's going to be such a fun kind of narrative to keep track of, to watch when it comes down the stretch, see if he's able to pull it off at the PGA Championship. Like I said, he's going for his 5th, and this is very important for him. It's very, very well documented how much winning another major does mean to him. He's trying to join that 5-major club. He has a lot of golf left in him, but for Rory McIlroy, it's an interesting conversation. News today broke that he and his wife are getting a divorce after 7 years of marriage. They have a daughter together, a 3-year-old daughter. Her name's Poppy. That's big news there. Rory McIlroy, we'll see if he's able to kind of maintain focus in the midst of this. It's very hard to, I'd imagine, for Rory to maintain focus. Your entire world is a little bit changing when you're divorcing, a significant other here. I can't imagine his mental state being the best. I can't imagine him being able to kind of put that to the side. So it's going to be interesting to see if he could. Rory McIlroy has put himself in a position to be able to win a major championship for the first time in a decade. And, this news drops, and you're kind of wondering if he's going to be able to maintain that, able to maintain I'm blanking on the word, but maintain the momentum that he created in the last 2 tournaments. I mean, you're looking at the scorecard, and I'll bring it back up here. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do here. Just consistent play. After round 1, only takes a bogey on really hole 4 in the 4th round. I would say that 18th double bogey is more of him just, he's up by 7 strokes at this point. So, I mean, you're not worrying too much here. So, really unbelievable play when it comes down the stretch in this tournament. And this was the first time in a while that we think that he's really able to kind of compete with the big guys, with those Scotty Schefflers, even Wyndham Clark had his number for a little while. So, very, fan favorite in Rory McIlroy, everything that's been documented on him fighting Liv for so long. He's kind of tour, people's champion. We all kind of root for this guy because of what he means to the sport, and it would be amazing to see him get his fifth this weekend. And of course, it means a lot to him as well. And with that being said, we're going to take our second break of the night here. And when I come back, we're going to be talking about Jimmy Dunne and his resignation and what that could mean for the PGA Tour and LIV merger talks.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, guys, we're getting right back into this, talking about Jimmy Dunne and his resignation from the PGA board here. I do have, for the visual listeners or visual viewers, you have Jimmy Dunne on the screen right here. He was the one behind the PGA and LIV merger talks. He was brought in 2023, and he was brought in really to kind of save face. The PGA Tour was kind of sinking a little bit, and then his idea of kind of saving face was to get these talks underway, and nothing has been really made of it. This is his letter that he posted this morning. Dear fellow directors, after a great deal of thought about my role on the PGA Tour Policy Board, I have decided that it's time to step down accordingly. I am resigning effective immediately. When I arrived on the board in January 2023, everybody involved with the game was concerned about the fundamental threat of LIV Golf. They were successfully luring away some of our top players, including several major champions. It was clear that the fracture would greatly damage our game and the tour. On top of that, the tour was engaged in burdensome litigation that was expensive, unwelcome, and uncertain. As directed by Commissioner Monahan, I engaged LIV's majority owner, the Public Investment Fund, to see if we could end the lawsuits and reunify the game. Importantly, we were able to come to an agreement in which the lawsuits were dismissed with prejudice, and path was created for the tour to remain in control of professional golf. Since there was no exclusivity clause, the players had a full range of options to seek outside investors that resulted in a multi-billion-dollar commitment from the Strategic Sports Group. I believe that history will look favorably on this outcome and the very real opportunities now afforded the tour. Kind of breaking down what that paragraph means, he was brought in basically to save Commissioner Monahan, who was drowning in a lot of legal hassle. He was drowning in a bunch of major players leaving for the LIV Golf Tour in 2023. That's when we saw Jon Rahm leave. But before that, it was Brooks Koepka, Bryce DeChambeau. It was Phil Mickelson leaving for the LIV Tour. It was I know there's Dustin Johnson, who is a perennial winner, major champion. And when all of these guys left, most of these guys in like 2020, 2021, it was kind of a bit further ado. They're getting a lot of money. It's fine. But, you saw Jon Rahm leave last year, and, you see them coming after guys like Rory McIlroy. There was speculation about $700 million was offered to Rory McIlroy. Nobody really, it's not really believed that that's real, that figure was true. But I wouldn't doubt that they did come at Rory and offered him around $250-300 million, one of the biggest names in golf. And of course, probably guys like Scotty Scheffler got offered. Victor Hovland probably has an offer over there. Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, they both mentioned that they've been offered a lot of money to go over there. But these are huge names, and if you lose the biggest names on your tour, you're not going to be anything, and you're going to be you're just going to continue to live in their shadow and eventually fold. So Commissioner Monahan, he brought in Jimmy Dunn to kind of see what we could do, see if we could work on an agreement, see if we could work on getting these lawsuits out. And he did a good job here, and he was able to work with the LIV Golf Tour, kind of make an agreement, and a lot of it was kind of thrown back in his face. His second paragraph reads, "As you are aware, I have not been asked to take part in negotiations with the PIF since June 2023. Of course, this was Monahan returning, trying to save face. On the other side, a lot of people looked unfavorably on this decision of Monahan to kind of have Jimmy Dunn talk to the LIV Golf Tour. Everybody thought, these guys made their decision, let them live in Saudi. We're going to live in America. We're not going to really, we don't want a merger. That it's just going to be gross. And, of course, players weren't told about this decision. It was a shock last year. Very well documented that it was a shock in the golf world when, news broke that they were trying to talk with the LIV Golf Tour. So he was told in June 2023 to stop talking to the LIV Golf Tour. During my testimony at the Senate hearing, I said it was my intention to cast my vote alongside the players' directors if a final agreement was reached with the PIF. Since the players now outnumber the independent directors on the board and no meaningful progress has been made towards a transaction with the PIF, I feel like my vote and my role is utterly superfluous. It is crucial for the board to avoid letting yesterday's differences interfere with today's decisions, especially when they influence future opportunities for the tour. Unifying professional golf is paramount to restoring fan interest and repairing wounds left from a fractured game. I have tried my best to move all minds in that direction." This letter really reads as, I was hired to do a job, and then everybody told me that what I'm doing is bad for the game and I shouldn't be doing it. And once he was told to stop doing it, he was kind of looking around like, what's my job here? What am I doing? What's my point for being on this board? So this is why he resigns. I want to express my sincere gratitude to all the directors that I have served with over the past year and a half. Thank you all for your hard work and dedication during a challenging period. I want to know that no one will be pulling harder for your success than me. Golf has given much more to me than I could ever give back, and for that I always will be grateful. Sincerely, Jimmy Dunn. It's kind of weird here. It's been so when all this news broke in 2023 last year about the potential merger and the talks that really surprised a lot of the golf world that didn't really know that this was even happening and were shocked that this was happening. They thought that we're still kind of moving towards a unification of the two tours. What me as a fan, and I'm gonna be just speaking on as a fan of golf here, and what I would like to see, I love it when you have these fields of just superstars in it. When we're getting into the PGA Championship, this is what's lacking in the signature events, and this is what's lacking in just regular events on the tour. You don't have these amazing golfers. Every week, you have a list of 5 golfers that can win a tournament, and then you have a list of like 10 golfers that could be like top 50 or make the cut or be top 20. When in like 2019 and 2018, when you had Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Bryce DeChambeau, and then throw in, you also have Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Phil Mickelson. I mean, all these guys really fighting every day, day in and day out for any tournament win. It was very hard. But now you're just seeing like Rory McIlroy winning 2 in a row. Not surprised. Scottie Scheffler winning 4 of his last 5 starts. Yeah, I mean, who's he competing with? I mean, not to put any like hatred on the players on the tour, as all of them are amazing golfers, better than I could ever be. But it's not surprising to see these guys win a week in and week out, because these fields are kind of weak. You have, Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele were amazing, but then you have Byung-Hun An, and then you have Sung Jae Im, and then you have Jason Day are the next ones behind at 9, 6, 6 under, and then like only 10 guys finish 3 under or better in the Wells Fargo Championship. I would have loved to see, and I remember the days when you have, and this is a little bit reminiscatory here, I miss the days where you have like 10 guys coming into the final day, like this guy can make a three-hole surge and he's number 1 all of a sudden, When you have so many guys competing, it's so interesting, and you tune in on these Sundays and you're watching until the 18th hole. This Wells Fargo Championship was over on 10. You knew Rory McIlroy was winning on 10 and onwards. And before the day even started, maybe even before the turn on day 3 on Saturday, maybe before that 10th hole on Saturday, you saw it was only 2 players that could win this tournament. It's a little bit unfortunate and a little bit sad for the tour. And, I would love to see a day where these 2 tours do merger again, and I do see star-studded fields every day. What that will look like is going to be impossible to know. And, it was the outcry of guys last year that got offered hundreds of $millions and turned it down. That's why the merger didn't happen, and it makes sense. I mean, if you're a guy on the PGA Tour and you got offered $150 million to go play for the Live Golf Tour, and you said no because of a bunch of reasons why people didn't want to go, but let's go. You're trying to defend the tour, kind of like Rory McIlroy did, defend the prestige of it. You feel like they owe you a lot. I mean, $150 million is life-changing money. It's generationally changing money. $150 million could like feed your great-grandkids, right? And you're turning that down because you're playing on a tour that you love, because you're playing for something you really care about. And you don't get anything back for it besides thank you, and then emerge that you see those guys that took those deals are still able to play on the tour. It's hard, and it's hard because you want to see that merger, but it's hard because right now there's just no feasible way. And I know, this is a conversation that we're going to have for years, because I think it's going to take a very long time to iron out the details here, and it maybe never happen, and it might be just the Live Tour saying, this isn't profitable enough, we have to go away to get that merger back, or to get that unification back in golf. So it's difficult. It's been a touchy subject in golf since the Live Golf Tour really became a thing, and this is why a lot of people didn't like it. But with that being said, we're going to get into our 4th segment after our 3rd break of the evening. We'll be talking about who is the players that are playing the best golf going into the PGA Championship and the 2nd major of this year.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, guys, we're back and we're talking best golfers going into the major championship here. It's major championship weekend, so we're going to be talking about it at nausea here. We're going to give you a course breakdown on Thursday, and we're going to talk who this course favors, but who's just playing the best golf. It is confirmed Scotty Scheffler and Meredith Scheffler have had their baby, so Scotty Scheffler will be in the field here at Valhalla. And that's a big addition. Like I said in that last segment, you love to see your big guys, or you love to see the best players playing, golf, I guess. And Scotty Scheffler is easily the best player in the world, and I don't think that you can really say otherwise. He leads the golf world in every single statistic besides putting. Best tee to green, tee to fairways hit, greens in regulation, best shots gained on approach, shots gained around the greens, best. If you put a ball at any spot on a hole besides on the green, he is the best at getting it to that green, best at getting it to that hole from that spot in the world. This is a run that we really haven't seen since. I guess maybe Jon Rahm last year. You could talk about it being a fantastic run. Maybe, Dustin Johnson 2020, Jordan Spieth in his run in 2015 and 2016. And then I really think that this is one of the better runs that we've seen since maybe Rory McIlroy bursted on the scene, winning 4 major championships in quick succession. Scotty Scheffler is amazing. And there's a realistic possibility of him completing a Grand Slam this year. We'll talk more on that on Thursday. That will definitely be a segment that we talk about, and I'm very excited to get into that conversation because that's historic. A Grand Slam is, that's Tiger Woods' level of history, of course. Call it the Tiger Slam for a reason. But yeah, Scotty Scheffler leads the golf world in every single statistic. He is having one of the best runs we have ever seen, but he has also been off for the last month. So we're tampering expectations a little bit when it comes to Scotty Scheffler. And, that might be insane, but is he kind of opening the door from not playing that much golf? Is he opening the door to a Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka, maybe? Dustin Johnson could kind of burst on the scene. Dustin Johnson is historically amazing at majors here. It's going to be very interesting to see. I'm very excited to get into Thursday and see who kind of separates themselves in the first 2 days, who we're going to see playing when it comes down to the weekend here. And I do expect Scotty Scheffler to put himself right as he does every single tournament. His driving has been what's really been amazing this year. And that's a shock because he's not historically been amazing at driving, but he's been very consistent. His accuracy has been unbelievable off the tee. It's usually his iron plays that we're going, whoo, that guy can stick it 2 inches from the hole way too often. And, it hasn't been his driver in his career, but this year it's been very impressive. He's gained 5 yards, 10 yards with his driver, and his accuracy has gone way up. Not playing from the rough so much, and that's really what got him all of his results so far. It's been very conservative play when it comes to Sunday. He's building that lead Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then he's very conservative on Sunday. He's not losing tournaments. If you see him in the lead on going into Sunday, if you see him in the top 3 going into Sunday, maybe that might be a good idea to put some money on those odds because he's going to win. He's shown it consistently every week here. He's been playing amazing out of the rough as well. He is the best golfer in the world playing out of the left rough. He has I think he leads the field by 4 strokes when it comes to playing out of the left rough, which is insanely impressive. His recent tournament results is crazy. First at the RBC Heritage, first at the Masters, tied second at the Houston Open, first at the Players Championship, first at Arnold Palmer. His only finish outside of the top 10 all year was a tied for 17th at the American Express Open. What? His only outside of the top 10 was in one tournament he's played in all year. Are you kidding me? This guy is insane. Now, isn't he? And he absolutely is. Rory McIlroy is the next name on this list. He is playing amazing. Won his last 2 starts. He won the Wells Fargo. That's a signature event. And he won the Zurich Classic. Of course, that's the partner tournament. We talked about him at nauseum on this podcast already, so I'm not going to go too in depth on Rory McIlroy. But was the best player with that momentous round 4, and it's going to be very interesting to see how he turns that into the Wells Fargo or into the PGA Championship. He does want this tournament very badly. If you guys have seen the Full Swing documentary on Netflix, I would recommend it. Go check that one out because he really wants to get his 5th. It's been 10 years since his last major, and he really wants to tie Brooks Koepka back up with that 5. So I told you we'll be short. We're talking about Xander Schauffele now. He's the number 3 name on this list. He was the leader for the entire Wells Fargo besides the back 9. From the whole 10 onward, he lost that lead. He is second in the FedEx Cup standings right now, which means he's had an unbelievable season. He's only trailing, of course, Scottie Scheffler, who is having a generational kind of run right now. He finished 8th at the Masters. Xander Schauffele did, tied for 5th at the Valspar, tied for 2nd at the Players Championship, tied for 4th at the Genesis Invitational, tied for 9th at the Farmers Insurance Open, tied 3rd at the American Express Open, and tied 10th at the Century. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and then 8 with the Wells Fargo. 8 top 10s this year. Very impressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those have been top 5s. He's been playing amazing golf, and that's why we see him second in the FedEx Cup standings, of course. The 4th name on the list, a little out there, but he's played amazing golf this year. Byung-Hun An, the South Korean. He was 3rd at the Wells Fargo. We talked about him earlier on this podcast. Finished 9 under there. If Rory McIlroy doesn't exist, he does look a lot more impressive, but Rory McIlroy 1700 made everybody look silly besides maybe Xander Schauffele, who shot 12 under, of course. But he's been playing great golf all year. He was tied for 4th at the Byron Nelson, tied for 16th at the Masters. That's a very difficult golf course. Tied for 8th at the Arnold, 4th at the Century. He is 6th right now in the FedEx Cup standings. He's been playing great golf as of late, and it's been very impressive, and we'll see how he can turn that into a major to see if he could kind of get on the board for his first major. And then Brooks Koepka, you have to talk about him. 1st in Singapore in the Live Golf event, tied for 9th at the Adelaide, tied for 5th at Mayakoba. He does not do well at the Masters this year, but he is the reigning PGA champion, and you really have to talk about him, of course. Any of the reigning champions, you have to mention them in a conversation of best players heading into the tournament that they're going to be playing in. He has a great record at Valhalla. He has 5 majors already. He could definitely add a 6th with this one. Brooks Koepka playing amazing golf, been very, very impressive. Some other names that have been very great this year that I didn't really give consideration to in the top 5. Wyndham Clark, he had an awful one at he had an awful tournament at the Wells Fargo Championship, which he was the reigning champion of. So it was weird to see him kind of fall off that much. You have Sahith Theegala, who finished 8 over at the Wells Fargo Championship. He was one of the bottom guys. Will Zalatoris, who also is talking about people that did bad last tournament, but have been known to be in the conversation when it comes to at least majors and just the tour championships. Dustin Johnson, a little bit of consideration too, but he's had a bad year. Bryson DeChambeau, he's had a very bad season. However, any golf tournament, I wouldn't be surprised to see that guy's name on the list. He did amazing at the Masters. So it's going to be interesting to see if he could bounce back from his poor showing at Singapore in the Live Golf event. You have Ludwig Oberg. Of course, he's been amazing this year, but he's had a little bit of an injury. He had a withdrawal from the Wells Fargo Championship. I believe it was back spasm. I think it was something to do with his back. So that's why I didn't really give him too much consideration. But let me tell you, he's played such amazing golf. second at the Masters at 24 years old. You'll see him a little bit later because we will definitely be talking about him when it comes to who can gain the most from a PGA Championship. Collin Morikawa has been playing great golf this season. I wouldn't be surprised to see his name in the hat, or his hat in the ring, his name in the hat. But yeah, some guys that I really don't expect to be playing well when it comes to this major, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. I'm not going to get fooled by these guys again. They have showed us what they really are. Jordan Spieth more than Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas could turn it on when it comes to any tournament, but Jordan Spieth, man, it's very disappointing. He's injured. It's hard to see, or it's hard to watch. He got off to an opening round like 3 under, and he was like 5th when it came to the Wells Fargo Championship, and it looked like, oh, are we gonna see a Jordan Spieth coming down the stretch here? We're gonna be able to watch him on Sunday? No. He completely fell off in that one. I think he finished 1 under, which made it look a little bit better, but he was still, or 1 under on Sunday, which made his scorecard look a little bit better, but I still think he was like 2 or 3 over on the weekend. It was very disappointing showing, and that's kind of what he is. He's not going to be able to put a golf, until he puts a entire 4 rounds together, I'm not going to be looking at him to win anything, really. But yeah, with that being said, that'll do it for our 4th segment. When we get back, we got a very special segment for you guys, talking about the 10 golfers who need to win the PGA Championship the most. Alright guys, we are back and we're talking top 10 golfers who need a win this major. And we got a graphic for you guys here. You're going to see it before I talk about it for the YouTube viewers, but for the audio listeners, you're going to get a little bit of a breakdown here. Number 10, I have Tiger Woods as the number 10 golfer who would gain the most from a win this weekend. He's already the best golfer in the world. He has nothing else to prove. But he could get into just like insane statistic territory, which he may already be at. But this would be his 4th win in the PGA Championship. He already has 4 wins at the Masters. 4 wins at 2 different majors is silly. It's just insane. He perennial major winner. I think he has 19 majors or something around that. Of course, he is the greatest golfer of all time. It's not even a debate. However, he can still gain something, and he's going to be in the field. So if he's going to be in the field, we're going to be talking about him no matter what. We'll give a breakdown on Thursday if I think I'm interested for this segment that I'm going to be talking about if Tiger Woods is going to be able to win the PGA Championship. Give a full breakdown on what his swing's been looking like this year. But that's enough Tiger Woods talk for right now. I could go on and on about how interested I am about Tiger Woods being in this one. But number 9, we have Jon Rahm. He's been dreadful on the LIV Tour this year. It looks like he kind of has checked out of golf entirely. I mean, he went on his amazing run and then just kind of lost it, I guess, lost that edge. when it came to the Live Tour. It kind of looks like he got that payday and then doesn't want to be on the Live Golf Tour, but he got paid so much money that you have to see it out. So it's been a very disappointing year for Jon Rahm. But, of course, he's still going out for those majors. He won the Masters last year. Any guy wants to build up their resume here, and he could definitely do that with another major in his belt. He went through one of the best runs in golf has seen in a while last year, and he could just continue it with another win here at the PGA Championship. That's why he's number 9 here. Number 8, Jordan Spieth. Absolute disappointing year. He's been very disappointing the last couple of years. The reason he is so low is because I don't believe he can win this tournament, and that's kind of why Jon Rahm and Tiger Woods are so low. That's kind of what you're seeing in the first half of this list. These guys could gain a lot legacy-wise when it comes to winning this tournament. However, I just don't see them winning it, so I can't put them higher on this list than where they're at. So Jordan Spieth is number 8, and the reasoning behind that is he could join a very exclusive career slam club. He has already won the Tour Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Masters, of course. But he could join the likes of Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, Gene Sarazen, and Gary Player. That's it. That's the only guys who have ever completed the career Grand Slam. Something that Phil Mickelson hasn't been able to do. Something that Rory McIlroy hasn't been able to do. Something Arnold Palmer hasn't been able to do. Could join a very, very exclusive list by completing the career Grand Slam. So that's why he's kind of the top of the I don't believe that they could, but it would mean a lot if they did tier of this list. My next tier, kind of 7 and 6, I kind of put these guys very close together here. Victor Hovland, he's had a very bad year. Runner-up last year to Brooks Koepka. He came very close to a lot of majors last year. He has not gotten that first one under his belt yet. He did win at the Memorial, but that's just a signature event. He could join a very exclusive list by winning a major here and doing it so young. I believe he's only 25 or 26. So it'd be very impressive if he was able to break through the Oklahoma State product here. Victor Hovland comes in at number 7 on my list. Of course, bad year. We talk about it a lot, but he's just a great guy to root for. Fan favorite. Victor Hovland is always going to be in these lists for a very long time, as he's so young and he kind of burst on the scene last year and the year before as, just being in contention every year. And I think that he could, if he does get that first major under his belt, he can win many, many more. So that's why I have him at 7. And number 6 is Bryson DeChambeau. Of course, very controversial golfer. Bryson is, looked at more of a content creator right now than he is really as one of the best golfers in the world. And he only has one major under his belt. He's one of the greatest talents in the golf world has seen in a very long time. He has a 340-yard drive. Everybody talks about it. The power on this guy is insane. He makes par 5s look like par 4s regularly, routinely. But only one major for this guy that could drive the ball so much better than anybody else. I expect a very, very big weekend here at Valhalla, as he tied for 6th at the 2024 Masters. So he really wants that second major under his belt, and I think he could get it at the PGA Championship here. Number 5 on my list, Ludwig Aberg. Ludwig Aberg, however you want to pronounce his name here. He's 24 years old. He is an insane talent. And this is why I have him at 5, because I think that his career could really, if he wins this PGA Championship, I think we're going to look back at that's the first of 9 or 10 major championship he wins. He is unbelievable. He is an amazing talent. This is a guy you're going to want to watch if you're new to golf, if you're just kind of tuning in for the first time for this PGA Championship. Watch Ludwig Aberg. He has the perfect swing. If you want to idolize somebody, kind of use somebody as as a role model when you're trying to make your shot path, it's Ludwig Berg. He's unbelievable. This talent is crazy, and he finished second at the Masters. So he's already proved that this could be the start of greatness in his career. Number 4, Ricky Fowler. Conversation every major. He has not won one yet. How disappointing could this career be if he never wins a major? One of the greatest talents the golf world has seen in the 2010s. He's won a lot, but he's never been able to win a major. He almost won in 2014, the PGA Championship, when he came runner-up to Rory McIlroy, who's number 1 on my list here. A little spoiler for your audio listeners here. He needs to win one, man. He has to. There's no way he walks away from this game without a major. How disappointing could that career be? That's why he's number 4 on my list here. I think he is the definition of a golfer who needs to win. I did change around the idea a little bit when I did make the graphic. I made it more who gains the most from a win here. That might have been just to talk about Tiger Woods, though. Scottie Scheffler, number 3 here. He could be going out for a Grand Slam this year, and that's a realistic possibility. And we'll talk about that on Thursday. For those of you guys that don't know, I know I've talked about a Grand Slam a lot in this episode here. Grand Slam is a Masters win, a PGA Championship, a Tour Championship, and a U.S. Open. It's winning the 4 major championships in golf. He could do it all in 1 year, and he could do it all in 1 year. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts. The one that he didn't win was a top second, or a tied for second. He is unbelievable. He's the best golfer in the world, far and away, right now, and he's having a historical run. If he gets the Slam in 1 year, that's a feat that's only been accomplished by Tiger Woods before, and that's a silly thing for him to be able to do. It's so exciting to see if he could do it, but we'll see what he does on the PGA Championship. Being out of the game for a month is going to change his swing a lot here. And number 2 is going to be Brooks Koepka. He's going for a 6th major. Rory McIlroy, kind of the guy that he's been fighting with for most of his career, is at his 5th. Brooks Koepka could join Phil Mickelson, Nick Faldo, and Lee Trevino with 6 majors. Phil Mickelson on that list here. Joining the list with that guy is insane company. You could talk about Brooks Koepka as one of the best golfers in the world of the 2020s, of the late 2010s too. He is within 1 of Arnold Palmer with 7 if he does win this PGA Championship. He's 30 years old. He could definitely get a couple more under his belt as well. We're gonna look back at Brooks Koepka's career, and it's gonna be a very, very, very impressive one, especially with the talent that we've seen in the world while he's been playing golf. And number 1 is gonna be Rory McIlroy. He needs to win this one. It's been a decade since he's won his last major, which was the PGA Championship in 2014. He's desperate for this one, and it is very well documented. He's talked about it, that he is very desperate for this one. This would be his 5th major. It would be a tie with Brooks Koepka at 5. He'd be joining a very exclusive list at 5 major championships. I don't have that list off the top of my head, but not many golfers are able to get 5. So it's very important for him. He really wants it. We're going to see how he plays. It's going to be we have a lot of great storylines, and this field of over 120 players is so exciting to watch. So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.